Welcome to 2014 Fantasy Football Draft Sleepers and Duds. You can check out our 2013 Sleepers and Duds. There's a link in the description. You can see we had some great picks from last year. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with the running backs. Running backs have some interesting players as sleepers and duds. Right off the bat, you're going to see Jamal Charles is top of the list in a tier by himself. Do I expect him to be in a tier by himself? Yes, I do. So that'll be great. His ADP is 1. His RDP is 1. If you get the first pick, go ahead and grab him. Now, who are the sleepers and duds? If you look at the Delta column, this shows you who the sleepers. Players in green are sleepers. Players in red are duds. So Reggie Bush is a sleeper, a fairly large sleeper, 25 slots above where he should be according to RoboCoach's calculations. Now, is there a reason for that? Yeah, he may end up in a platoon situation, but if he doesn't, then that's a big sleeper, and you can pick him up in the second or third round. Who are some other sleepers and duds? You got Arian Foster, small sleeper. He's also had some injury problems, so possibly, that's a fair rating. So out of what I'm seeing here, probably Reggie Bush is your sleeper, and you got to cross your fingers. But for the most part, not a lot of sleepers amongst the running backs. Now, are there duds? Yeah, there are some duds. Peterson is a small dud right here. You can see he's a little bit red, and yeah, he's probably overrated. Likewise with Eddie Lacy, he's a little bit of a dud. In general, there's not too many opportunities to get sleepers and duds among the running backs. This is common just because running backs are always well researched, and it's hard to outsmart your draft opponents. But those are your chances. Reggie Bush would be your biggest sleeper. Arian Foster, another possible sleeper. Maybe down here you get in the third tier running backs, possibly Steven Jackson, but as you probably know, he has issues as well. But you can pick him up in late rounds on a flyer. That'll be a good sleeper for you in maybe the 7th, 8th round. All right, so that's the running backs. Let's take a look at quarterbacks. Quarterbacks usually are underrated just simply because the running backs are overrated. That's just the way things work. Who are my sleepers and duds? You can see right off the bat, we've got a big sleeper in the first round. Nick Foles, I should say in the top tier, Nick Foles. That's huge. I can pick up Nick Foles in the 6th round, and he will produce just as much points for me as will Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. That's big. That's so big that you can build your whole strategy off of that. You can take some flyers in the early rounds knowing you can get Nick Foles later. And if you miss Nick Foles by some reason, and you shouldn't because his whoop when you have to pick him up isn't until pick 70. So look at that. Andy Dalton, another huge sleeper. So I'm feeling really confident now. If I miss Foles, I can get Dalton. I can build a huge strategy on this, scooping up great quarterbacks, first, second tier quarterbacks in later rounds. That gives me flexibility in the early rounds to make a mistake. So those are my sleepers, the duds amongst the quarterbacks. Manning is a little bit of a dud. The biggest dud isn't even really in the frame right here. I have to back out of the frame and zoom in down here, and voila, there he is, Aaron Rodgers, big dud. Now that's based upon Green Bay's performance at the end of last year, and Rodgers was injured, so there are expectations that Green Bay will do better, and so that's why he is such a big dud. So maybe there's a reason his ADP is so low. But based upon, unless Green Bay turns things around, there's no reason why he won't be a dud. All right, let's move on. Wide receivers. Who are my sleepers and who are my duds? Well, let's see. Up in the top tier, I've got 4 players, one of which somewhat unexpected. Julio Jones. He is kind of a sleeper. He's 13 points below where he should be. So you can scoop him up in the second, third round. Probably the second round is the latest you're going to get him. And he may do better for you now. There's a reason he's got injury issues, and so possibly not a sleeper. But if he performs at the number 1 level for a wide receiver in Atlanta, then he's going to be a big sleeper for you. The biggest sleepers are here in the second tier. Oops. Press the wrong button there. The biggest sleepers are right here. Edelman. Big sleeper. Gets no respect. But he had, over 100 receptions last year, leading receiver in New England. Big sleeper. And if you take a look down, here's Kenny Britt, another big sleeper. 117 points below where he should be. He's the number 1 receiver in St. Louis. No reason why he shouldn't be in the second tier of running backs. Just as good as A.J. Green, RoboCoach thinks. Now, he's got his own set of issues, of course, but if he's able to hold on to that number 1 wide receiver slot in St. Louis for the whole year, he's going to be great. He's going to be a huge sleeper. Like what you can see down here, there's some more. Cecil Shorts is another one. Now, who are the duds? Well, let's see. We've got, you could say CJ is going to be a dud, but, that's not by much. He's just barely a dud. So he'll probably achieve about expectations. As usual, he's bid way up, and so it's hard to make. He's got a lot of expectations to perform to achieve. And you could say down here, Jordy Nelson is also a little bit of a dud. He had a great year last year, and so he's being bid up a little bit. Tight ends, pretty much here. You can see Graham is the number 1 wide receiver as he should be. He's bid way up, and so pretty much he's never going to be able to achieve everybody's expectations, and so he's a dud as a result. Which is not to say you shouldn't take him. He's a great player. It's just that right now he's overbid. So that's your dud. Pretty much everybody else is a sleeper when it comes to wide receivers. Well, Gronk is a dud as well for the same reasons that Graham is. But, Olsen, all these other guys, these are big sleepers. You can see big green numbers here. You can count on being able to pick up guys like Olsen in the late rounds, and so you don't have to, expend an early round pick on tight ends. Defenses, they're pretty much always sleepers just because no one pays attention. You can grab Cincinnati this year, 10th round or something like that. Snake them away from somebody. They should be great. They finished the season great. They did lose their defensive coordinator. Things might change a little bit. So maybe there's reason to believe that they're not a huge sleeper. And kickers, once again, always sleepers because nobody cares about kickers. And so you can snatch up guys like Gostkowski, 10th, 11th round, just before everyone else gets their kicker. Make sure you get Gostkowski, and you'll be happy. And that is the sleepers and duds for 2014. This is Mr. Roboto. Please like this, and please check out our upcoming series on how to manage your draft. Thank you very much.